Hello, good morning, or good evening. Whenever you are watching this, I hope you are doing well. My name is Catherine, and today I am going over my summer TBR. If you follow me on Instagram, you may have gathered that I'm in a bit of a reading slump. So with work and the fact that I am going to be moving in a month, which is terrifying because there's almost 400 books behind me, I am not going to be creating monthly TBRs. So instead, what I am doing right now, what am I doing? Why am I here? I'm creating a summer TBR. These are books that I would like to get to this summer. It's not overly ambitious. Honestly, I've read more books than this in just a month. So I definitely have faith that I will be able to at least get to some of these. Several of them have been on my TBR for years. Some of them are brand new to me. And who knows, I may just abandon all of this and read exclusively historical romances because I have a problem. I never thought I'd be that person reading historical romances with like the shirtless men on the covers, but here we are. Kind of broken this down into genre, kind of, but here are some of the books that I am planning to get to. All of these are books that I own physically. Since I mentioned historical romances, these aren't historical romances. These are just romances. I would like to read Hang the Moon by Alexandria Bellfleur. I had their other book, Written in the Stars, on my TBR forever, so I'll probably get to that as well. I got this in a Goodreads giveaway and it just got to me, even though I won it like 2 months ago. You know how it goes. It sounds really cute. The cover design is gorgeous and it just sounds like a very fun, lighthearted, fluffy romance. So I'm definitely really want to get to this, and it has those sort of summery vibes on the cover. So next is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. I'm very excited to read this. It sounds exactly like something I would like. Enemies to lovers, the tension, it's an office romance, which as someone who plans to never work in an office, I don't know why, but it just sounds like a good time. So I'm excited to read that. I got this book from the Roomies Digest for my birthday, so thank you, Mo and Christine. I'm excited to read it. Finally, in terms of like adult romances, I really want to read All That She Can See by Carrie Hope Fletcher. I mean, her other book was a romance, so I'm assuming it's a romance, and she tends to write in the like new adult genre, at least these books she did. And it's magical realism. It involves a baker and pies and tarot cards, it looks like. So yeah, I'll probably be reading this. It sounds like a good time. Again, all of these just are books that sound like a good time. I also have a couple YA contemporaries that I really want to get to because YA contemporaries make me feel good. Even though some of them I just end up rolling my eyes because I'm like, teenagers. I remember when I was like that. Let's be real. I can still be like that. The overdramaticness, I got that nailed down. Anyway, I'm going to be reading The Unexpected Everything by Morgan Matson. I forgot the name for a second. It has an ice cream truck and dogs on the cover. There's dogs here. So far, I've really enjoyed the 2 other Morgan Matson books that I've read. I've also heard good things about this. I'll read this one. Again, sounds like a good time. On that YA contemporary vibe train, Sarah Dessen. I want to read Someone Like You and Along for the Ride. These two just give me such literal beachy vibes, and I'm pretty sure this one also takes place near like a beach town. So yeah, I really enjoy Sarah Dessen's books. I had a moment last year where I remembered how much I loved her books and her writing, so I'm excited to reread this one. I think I read this one in like middle school and then read this one. You could say these books sound like a good time. Now there are a couple, wait for it, nonfiction books. There's a couple nonfiction books that I am planning to read. The first one is Only in Naples by Catherine Wilson. Did I pick up this book because the author's name is Catherine and she moves to Naples? First of all, she marries an Italian man and moves to Naples, and she sounds like she is living my dream? Maybe. My family's from Naples and the author's name is Catherine and it sounded like a good time, so I bought it. But yeah, it's about this woman who was an intern at the US consulate in Naples, and she meets a guy and she like learns about Italian cooking. Sounds really cool, and maybe I'll learn a little bit about Italian culture. Another nonfiction book. I should be so proud of me. The Anthropocene Review by John Green. Yeah, I love John Green. No shame. Maybe it sounds like a good time can be our always. Anyway, I'm going to read this one because I really enjoy John Green's writing, and I think he has really interesting takes on the world, and just he's a very introspective dude. The next book isn't technically nonfiction, but it's based on real events, and that is House of Impossible Beauties by Joseph Cassara. It takes inspiration from the drag house extravaganza, which is featured in the documentary Paris is Burning, which there's a lot of controversy about that documentary. But I'm excited to read this book. I believe it is historical fiction, so it's based on true events, but ultimately fiction. Yeah. Actually, this doesn't sound like a good time. It's about drag queens and queer culture during the AIDS epidemic, so not a good time, but very interesting. Finally, I do have a couple fantasy from authors that I trust / sequels, so hopefully that can get me out of my fantasy slump, because I haven't read any fantasy, y'all. It's weird. But I really want to read Lost in the Neverwoods by Aiden Thomas. I loved Cemetery Boys. I'm excited to read their second book. Not technically, it's not a sequel at all. But it is a Peter Pan read. A sequel that I'm going to be reading is All the Tides of Fate, which is the sequel to All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. I really liked the first one, except for like the last 20 pages. So I'm hoping this makes up for that. And finally, I'm going to be reading Ravage the Dark, the sequel to Scavenge the Stars. Wow, I'm doing great at this. By Tara Sim. Yeah, it's a Count of Monte Cristo retelling, and I really like the first book, so I'm going to read the second book, because that's what you do. Those are all the books that I have planned to read this summer. If I do participate in any like readathons this summer, I'll probably be making like individual videos for those readathons, either TBRs or TBRs attached to reading vlogs. Just depends on how things go. If you have read any of these books, please let me know. Thoughts down below. Save me from reading anything you think I won't like. If you're like, I didn't like that, but Catherine probably would. That's also good to know, because different people have different reading tastes. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, please be sure to subscribe. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, bye!